Chapter 363. A Muslim Girl in the West, Section 16. The four speeches of Dr. Ibtihal which she delivered in the Sudanese Students' Club and the University of Athens became the best-selling DVDs and CDs. Some publishing companies requested her to give them permission to translate her speeches in Greek and French languages and publish them besides English. Dr. Ibtihal gladly accepted the offers. Some of those companies paid her some money in advance. She also received regularly her share on those DVDs and CDs. She began to gain fame and name very quickly in Athens. Some Christian churches requested her to come and share her testimony during their Sunday's services. In short time Dr. Ibtihal became so famous and popular among the churches and the Athenian society. Howbeit, not everyone was happy about her success and fame. Some Muslim students and teachers published articles in their Arabic and English newspapers and condemned her. They accused her as an opportunist and impostor who used religion to gain fame and material gains. They wrote that she had never been a Muslim before. According to them, she was born and brought up as a Sudanese Christian. Some writers stated that Dr. Ibtihal was a Sudanese Christian from Darfur region, others located her origin to the Nuba Mountains, and yet others related her to some tribes from south of Sudan. The Muslim community in Athens wrote directly to the parliament and demanded that the Greek government should intervene and stop the dissident Sudanese woman from constantly and openly attacking Islam. This complaint was made after Dr. Ibtihal delivered series of speeches in the biggest church in Athens and spoke about the life of the Prophet Muhammad. Dr. Ibtihal delivered her speeches in the auditorium of the Apostolic Church on Sunday evenings. The government of Greece referred the Muslim community's case to an Athenian court. Before we would state what the court did, we should see what Dr. Ibtihal had said in her controversial speeches. "Brothers and sisters," said Dr. Ibtihal in a charming feminine voice, "I don't hate Muslims or Islam. I just want my brothers and sisters in Islam to know that whatever I speak about Islam is not my own creation. These teachings and stories are there in the most authentic books of the Islamic heritage. Everything I mention I quote from Al-Azhar's approved sources. Let any Muslim scholar proves just one single hadith or story that I said about the Prophet Muhammad that was my own creation. Every Muslim scholar learns these teachings and stories in school and college. Why then Muslims get annoyed when other people hear them? Why Muslim scholars call these stories about the life of the Prophet Muhammad Amskut Anho? In other words, those stories and teachings we should not talk about or tell them to outsiders. This evening I am going to speak about the marriage life of the Prophet Muhammad. The married life of the Prophet Muhammad puzzled many Muslim and non-Muslim scholars in our modern day. One of the main obligations of each Muslim writer is to justify the polygamous marriages of the Prophet. It is one of the main duties of every Muslim to imitate the example of the Prophet in every area of his life. For that reason, modern Muslim writers try always to find reasons to justify the marriages of their Prophet Muhammad. The common accepted reason was that the Prophet married women from different tribes for tribal alliances. The Moroccan Muslim scholar Fatima Mernissi rejected the assumption that most of the Prophet's marriages were done for the purpose of tribal alliances. Mernissi 1987, page 54. She argued that most of the Prophet's marriages were motivated by females' attraction and beauty. Examples of his marriages with Safiya bint Huwai, a Jewish woman, whose tribe has been raided and defeated by Muhammad, Rayhana bint Zayd ibn Omaro, another Jewish woman, Maria the Copt, a Christian girl, given as gift from Egypt to the Prophet, Juwariya bint al-Harith, she was so beautiful that whoever saw her fell in love with her, Zainab bint Gahash, scandalous marriage, because she was the wife of his adopted son Zayd, and Aisha the daughter of his friend Abu Bakr, another problematic marriage because he married her when she was 6 years old and slept with her when she was 9. Muhammad was 54 and Aisha was 9 when they married and sexually consummated their marriage. The Prophet wrote the marriage contract with Aisha while she was 6 years old and consummated his marriage with her while she was 9 years old, and she remained with him for 9 years, till his death, Sahih al-Bukhari Book 62, Hadith number 89. The Egyptian Muslim scholar Rashid Rida admitted that he did not find any reason or wisdom behind the marriage of the Prophet to Maimuna bint al-Harith, his last wife. Dajir 2002, page 2. If we include Khadija, his first wife, to the list of his wives, we find that out of his 13 wives, 8 of them were married for reasons other than what the scholars believed. The Prophet praised his nephew, Hassan ibn Ali, because Hassan was a marriage addict. He married 200 wives, Mernisi 1987, page 50. He used to divorce 4 wives at a time and marry another 4. The Prophet said to him, "You resemble me physically and morally." The Prophet was caught by his wife Hafsa, having sexual intercourse with his maidservant Maria. When Hafsa saw the Prophet on the bed with his female slave, she shouted angrily, "O Prophet of God, in my house, on my bed, and in my night." Mernisi 1987, page 55. Aisha, the beloved wife of the Prophet, confessed that she hated the other wives of Muhammad and in some cases quarreled with them verbally and physically. One day she approached the Prophet with food on her hands. She found his wife, Sawayda bint Zama, with him. She said to her, "Eat before I cover your face with the food." When Sawayda did not respond, Aisha threw the food on her face. The Prophet laughed and told Sawayda to do the same thing to Aisha. Al-Sabak 1981, page 117. Fatima Mernisi quoted 2 sayings of Aisha in which she admitted that polygamy brings hatred and jealousy between the wives. Mernisi 1987, page 55. Aisha said, "I never was as jealous as I was of Maria. That is because she was a very beautiful, curly-haired woman. The Prophet was very attracted to her. In the beginning she was living near us and the Prophet spent entire days and nights with her until we protested and she became frightened." Aisha said also, "The Prophet was in my room when Juwariya came to ask him about a contract. By God, I hated her when I saw her coming towards him. I knew that he was going to see in her what I saw, her beauty." The Prophet admitted that polygamy harms the wife. When he came to know that his son-in-law, Ali ibn Abi Talib, was intended to marry another woman, he stood in the mosque at the Friday public prayer and said, "I will not allow Ali ibn Abi Talib, and I repeat, I will not allow Ali to marry another woman except if he divorce my daughter. She is a part of me, and what harms her, harms me." Mernisi 1987, page 70. Muslim historians and narrators of the Prophet Muhammad's biography differed in the number of the women that he married. Some narrators mentioned 9, others 13. 1 Khadija bint Khuwaylid, 2 Sauda bint Zam'a, 3 Aisha bint Abu Bakr, 4 Salama, 5 Hafsa bint Umar, 6 Zainab bint Gahash, 7 Juwayriya bint al-Harith, 8 Malika bint Ka'b, 9 Safiya bint Huwaya. Some narrators added to those 9 other 4 women. 10 Maimuna bint al-Harith, 11 Ramla bint Abu Sufyan, 12 Asma of Saba, 13 Zainab al-Hozaima. All the narrators of the biography of the Prophet Muhammad mentioned 2 female slaves that he slept with them without marriage, Maria the Copt, Christian female slave, Rayhana bint Omaro, Jewish female captive. Dr. Ibtihal's second speech was delivered at the same time and in the same church. It was a continuation of her first speech. Brothers and sisters, yesterday I spoke about the marriage life of the Prophet Muhammad in general. Today I would like to speak about some problematic marriages of the Prophet of Islam. The marriages of the Prophet Muhammad with some of his women are called by some modern scholars, scandalous marriages. By this they mean Muhammad's problematic relations with some of his women, his marriages to Aisha, the daughter of his friend and first caliph, Abu Bakr, Zainab bint Gahash, his cousin and the wife of his adopted son, Zayd, Safiya bint Huwaya, a Jewish captive girl, and Maria the Coptic girl, a Christian female slave, given to him as a gift by the king of Egypt. Maria the Copt was not counted by Muslim scholars as one of the wives of the Prophet or mothers of the faithful because she remained a Christian and slave. She bore him a son, Ibrahim, who died in infancy. The Prophet's desire for Maria was described in a dramatic way by the books of his biography. Hafsa, one of the Prophet's wives, caught him having sexual intercourse with Maria in her room. "O Prophet of God, in my house, on my bed, and in my night," shouted Hafsa angrily. Afraid of the anger of his other wives, and especially of his most beloved wife, Aisha, he promised Hafsa never to touch Maria again if she would keep the matter secret. But she spoke out, and the matter reached the ears of Aisha. When his beloved Aisha confronted him with his improper act, he claimed to have received a revelation from heaven which justified and legalized his action with Maria. "O Prophet! Why holdest thou to be forbidden that which Allah has made lawful to thee? Thou seekest to please thy consorts, but Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful." Surat Al-Tahrim 66, verse 1. When Aisha heard the above justification, she said to him, "Why should I see your God in a haste to satisfy your whims?" Maria became pregnant and delivered a baby boy whom the Prophet named Ibrahim or Abraham. When Aisha saw the baby, she told the Prophet that the child did not resemble him. Then a rumor reached the Prophet's ears that Maria was in fact impregnated by the man who brought her from Egypt and that Ibrahim was not his own son. Muhammad outraged and sent Ali to strike off the neck of the man. The man was escaped the death penalty when it appeared that he was not capable of having sexual intercourse or eunuch and his penis was cut off. Sahih Muslim, Hadith number 4975. Muhammad did not follow the same principle when his beloved wife Aisha was accused of having sex with Safwan ibn al-Mu'attal. Safiyyah bint Huwayya was the daughter of Huwayya, one of the Jewish leaders. When Muhammad invaded Kibar, a Jewish city, he killed Safiyyah's husband, father, and uncle. Her husband was Kanana bin al-Rabi'a, whom the Prophet tortured to death and extracted from him the hiding place of his treasure. In the beginning, Safiyyah was taken as slave captive by Diyah al-Kalib. When the news reached the Prophet's ears that Safiyyah was extremely beautiful and the daughter of a Jewish leader, he took her from Diyah. On the same day, he killed her husband, brother, and uncle. The Prophet forced her to sleep with him. One could imagine how the woman would feel toward the man who killed her close relatives and forced her to sleep with him. No doubt about it that Safiyyah was crying when the Prophet raped her on the same night he killed her husband and brother and all her people. Safiyyah reported to have said, "I have never hated any man more than the Prophet, because he killed my husband, father, and all my people." The Prophet needed someone handy that day to protect him because Safiyyah might kill him for revenge on the first night he forced her on bed. The Surah al-Halabiya of the Prophet tell us that when the Messenger of Allah emerged out of the tent in the morning, there was a sword with Abu Ayyub. Abu Ayyub said, "O Messenger of Allah, she was a newly married woman, and you killed her father, brother, and husband, so I did not feel secure about you with her." The story of Safiyyah was mentioned in details in Al-Surah al-Halabiya, Ibn Hisham, and Tabaqat ibn Sa'd. The Prophet Muhammad broke the law of the Quran, which said a widow or a divorced woman should remain without marriage for 3 months and 10 days before another man sleeps with her. Quran Surat Al-Baqarah 2, verse 228. However, the female children and old women were exempted from this restriction. According to the Quran, if an underage girl who has not yet have her first period due to her young age, if she get married and then divorced, she has to wait only 3 months before get remarried. Quran Surat Al-Talaq 65, verse 4. The same rule applies to the old woman whose period stopped due to her advanced age. Therefore, the Prophet Muhammad should have waited for 3 months and 10 days before he slept with Safiyyah in order to know whether she was pregnant from her late husband. The Islamic sources stated that Safiyyah became a Muslim later on and the Prophet married her. For that reason she was included among the wives of the Prophet and the mothers of the faithful. Zainab bint Jahash. The marriage of Zainab was described by Fatima Mernisi as scandalous marriage because Zainab was the wife of the Prophet's adopted son, Zayd. She was the wife of Muhammad's adopted son, Zayd, and in the eyes of the Arabs, as good as his own daughter-in-law. Muhammad went to her house when her husband was away, saw her in a state of semi-nudeness, and was aroused. According to the surah, God sent a wind, which lifted up the curtain of the tent, and Muhammad saw Zainab lying on her bed half naked. Zainab is described by the surah as fair, beautiful, and has sexual body. When Zayd heard about it, he offered to divorce her, but Muhammad, fearing a public scandal, told him to keep his wife for himself. At this point Allah spoke and decided the matter, Surat Al-Ahzab 33, verses 36-40. Allah sent a revelation from heaven in which he blamed Muhammad for telling Zayd, "Retain thou in wedlock thy wife," and for hiding in his heart that which God was about to make manifest. Allah told Muhammad, "Thou feared the people, but it is more fitting that thou should fear God," and he revealed his plan, present and future, to Muhammad thus, "We joined her in marriage to thee, in order that in future there may be no difficulty to the believers in the matter of marriage with the wives of their adopted sons, when the latter have dissolved with the necessary formality their marriage with them. And Allah's command must be fulfilled." Surat Al-Ahzab 33, verses 36-40. Allah then addressed the Muslims of all generations, "It is not fitting for a believer, man or woman, when a matter has been decided by God and His Apostle to have any option about their decision. If anyone disobeys God and His Apostle, he is indeed clearly on a wrong path." Based on this marriage, it became a law that if Muhammad sees any woman and desires her, it becomes compulsory for her husband to divorce her at once, and she becomes the wife of the Prophet. Moreover, the Quran mentioned that if any woman wants to offer herself to the Prophet and Muhammad wants to have nikah with her, he alone among the believers is allowed to do so. Muhammad also was exempted from the restriction of the Quran that a man should marry only 4 women at a time. In other words, the Prophet alone was allowed to have any number of wives, and that was why he married 13 women and 2 female slaves, Maria and Rayhana. Muhammad made Zayd himself to go to his wife with his marriage proposal. Allah's messenger said to Zayd to make a mention to her about him. Anas narrated, when the legal period of Zainab bint Jahash was finished, the messenger of God said to Zayd ibn Haritha, "I have none that I can trust, other than myself, but you. Go to Zainab and propose to her for me." So Zayd went off and came to her while she was leavening dough. Zayd said, "When I saw her, she became greater in heart, and I could not look at her since I knew that the messenger of God mentioned her. So I turned my back on her and said, 'O Zainab, rejoice, the messenger of God has mentioned you.' She said, 'I shall do nothing until I ask the advice of my Lord.' She rose up and went to pray or to her mosque. Then the verse was revealed, 'Once Zayd has accomplished his purpose with her, we married her off to you.' Then the messenger of God came and entered without permission. Muhammad at that time had many wives and female slaves, while Zayd had only one wife. Still the Prophet of the religion of peace took the wife of his adopted son and left him with none. Aisha bint Abu Bakr was Muhammad's third wife. She is known as the child bride of Muhammad because he married her when she was a small child. Aisha herself narrated, "The messenger of God married me in Shawwal in the 10th year after of his prophethood, 3 years before the migration, as I was 6 years old. I was 9 years old when he consummated the marriage with me." Ibn Hisham holds that Muhammad married her when she was 7 years old and consummated the marriage with her when they were in Medina when she was 9 years old. Aisha narrated, "The messenger of God married me when I was still playing with the girls. I did not know that the messenger of God married me until my mother took me and locked me up in the house. Then I realized that I was married." Aisha also said, "I was playing with the girls during the lifetime of the messenger of God. The messenger of God came to me when I was playing with the girls, and asked me, 'What is this, Aisha?' I said, 'The horses of Solomon.' He laughed. I would be playing with my dolls, narrated Aisha, with the girls who were my friends, and the Prophet would come in and they would slip out of the house and he would go out after them and bring them back, for he was pleased for my sake to have them there. Sometimes he would say stay where you are before they had time to leave, and would also join in our games. These narrations tell us that the Prophet Muhammad married Aisha when she was a child of 9 years old. No Muslim scholar would be able to deny this obvious fact. Based on the example of the Prophet Muhammad with Aisha, the minimum age for marriage in the Sharia law was not fixed to a specific age. It was left to the guardian of the girl to decide which age to give his daughter in marriage. In Surat Al-Talaq verse 4, the Quran allows the father of the girl to give her in marriage before she has her monthly period. The Prophet married Malika bint Ka'b, who was known for her resplendent, magnificent beauty. Aisha entered to her and said, "Are you not ashamed of marrying the killer of your father?" So Malika took refuge with God from the Prophet, and he divorced her. Tabaqat Ibn Sa'd, Volume 8, page 141, Asd Al-Ghaba, Volume 5, page 525. Aisha noticed that whenever the Prophet Muhammad wanted to sleep with a woman, he claimed that Allah revealed to him and justified his action. In that regard, Aisha remarked, "It seems to me that your Lord hastens to satisfy your love." Sahih Muslim, Volume 2, pages 748 to 749. It was not clear on what occasion Aisha made such a doubting remark. Some sources referred it to the incident when the Prophet was caught by his wife Hafsa in the very act of having sex with his slave girl Maria the Coptic, and other sources related it to his scandalous marriage with his daughter-in-law, Zainab bint Gahash.